Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Ghost and today we're going to be taking a look at the Tier 7 Pan-Asian cruiser. Light cruiser. Yeah, it's a light cruiser. We're going to call it a light cruiser. The Pan-Asian Tier 7 cruiser. The light cruiser Harbin. So, I got this ship out of a crate the other day and I actually have been playing a few games in it. I got it fully upgraded. I put a little bit of GXP down to get this, get the last few upgrades. And so far, it's not the greatest, but it's kind of fun. We'll show you guys what the fun factor is in the gameplay. But before we get into the gameplay, we got to go over the upgrades and loadout. We got to go over the commander, etc. So let's go ahead and dive on in. So for the upgrades and loadout, I'm running Aiming Systems Mod 1 in the first slot. I'm running Propulsion Mod 2 in the second slot because I like to get up to speed really fast. In the third slot, I am running Concealment Systems Mod. And in the fourth and final slot, I'm running Main Battery Mod 3. This ship is fully upgraded. Now for the loadout, this ship comes with HE, it comes with AP, comes with deep water torpedoes, which is unique to the Pan-Asians. Okay, so deep water torpedoes, keep this in mind, cannot hit destroyers. So these torpedoes are unable to hit destroyers. However, they can hit battleships and cruisers. And the thing about these torpedoes, they're deep water torpedoes, which means they have low detectability range. Like really low detectability range. If we go take a look at the torpedoes, 0.8 kilometers. Basically, guys, you're not going to see these torpedoes until it's too late, literally. So there ain't no dodging these, really, unless you're in the perfect position. But yeah, these torpedoes can catch people off guard, so keep that in mind. And also the range on them is really good. 12.5 kilometers. They're very fast too, 64 knots. Well, not very fast, pretty average, but they're not 50 knots like American torps. And the damage is really good too, 18,600. And the flooding chance is actually pretty high too on these deep water torpedoes because they hit the keel of the ship. They hit the very bottom, so yeah, that shit hurts. Anyway, we've got standard damage control parties. We've got 4 smoke screens that last about 1 minute and 30 seconds. We've got repair parties. We've got 3 of them because I'm running fully packed on my commander. The heals aren't the greatest, but they are nice to have for a cruiser. I will say this thing has very little hit points. It's only got 29,000, so the more heals, the better. And we've got 3 torpedo reload boosters on this as well. Yeah, so this ship has 12 torpedoes in total, 6 on each side. So you could only imagine, literally, if you want to, you could dish out 24 torpedoes. You just got to get the 6 off the one side, 6 off the other, pop your torpedo reload booster, and get them all off again. So pretty fun. We've got the Legends 4-year veteran flag here for playing. I've been playing for 4 years, so I got that flag on. And I'm running the Air Dragon camo. Pretty snazzy, looks pretty good. Now, for the specs, we've got 29,500 hit points, which is pretty low for a cruiser at Tier 7, not gonna lie. It's just a little bit higher than the San Diego, I believe. And the armor is absolutely atrocious. We're gonna cover that in the armor viewer. The artillery, we've got 10 130mm 5-inch guns. These shoot out to 16.7 kilometers with a 4.4 second reload on my build. And this the turrets rotate 8.5 seconds, 180 degrees. So the turret rotation's really good. You don't really need to be worrying about that too much. Now for the HE shells, 1900 maximum damage with a 7% chance of setting fires, which is pretty low for a cruiser. Because, well, you got to keep in mind, these are small guns. They're not very big guns for a cruiser whatsoever. They're only 5-inch guns, so yeah. And the AP shell maximum damage is 2500. We already went over the torpedoes. They're very good, long range, they're deep waters, and they're pretty quick. The AA defense is pretty decent. It's nothing spectacular, but it is pretty good. You've got an average damage per second of around 200 with the AA, so lots of AA on this thing. The maneuverability is pretty good on this ship. 34 knot speed on my build, 34.7 to be exact. We got a 660 meter turning circle radius with a 6.9 second rudder. Now for the concealment, I'm running a concealment sort of ish build. I'm not really running a concealment build. I mean, I'm running the concealment mod, and I've got I got somebody as my inspiration that also decreases my overall concealment, but I've got 9.9 kilometer detectability by sea. I've got 6.4 by air, 2 guaranteed, of course, with a 6.1 kilometer detectability while firing in smoke. Now, if you take a look at the armor, this thing doesn't have any. It's plastered in 16 millimeters of armor, and if we take away all that 16 millimeters, the Citadel is absolutely gigantic, which means battleships and cruisers and anything with big guns, aka ships with 8-inch guns or larger, will absolutely chew you up. And I mean that. This ship cannot angle. Like, you've only got 16 millimeters of armor everywhere. So, you gotta watch out. You really do. HE will rip this apart. AP will obviously rip this apart. The Citadel is fucking huge. Part of my language. So, you really gotta be careful in this ship. Now, for the commander, I'm running Chen Shakwan. I'm running Nikolai Kuznetsov for the extra range, and I'm running... Okay, I guess I'm not running Mikawa. I thought I was running Mikawa, but I'm running Albert Gleaves, which gives me extra torpedo range. So I got both these guys giving me main battery range and torpedo range. Pretty cool. Base trait, Guerrilla Warfare. We got Beyond Range. We got Blind Justice, which decreases our cruiser detectability, and it also increases our torpedo range. We've got Velocious Torpedo Chaos, which... decreases the torpedo reload booster cooldown time by 9%. With a, it also adds an extra torpedo reload booster as well, which is pretty handy. And we've got Fully Packed. He's a Legendary 2, rank 15 captain. And with all that being said, I think this is a good ship. It's nothing great, but it's pretty fun. It is definitely one of those ships that I would recommend playing in a div. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the gameplay. I hope you all do enjoy it. Okay, so here we are in the Tier 7 Tech Tree light cruiser, the Harbin. In the beginning of the video, I was struggling to remember the name of this ship, because it's just kind of generic. It's nothing too spectacular, in my opinion. But it is a decent little cruiser. Is it something I would say going out of your way to get, smacking down 300, 400,000 GXP to go through the whole Tech Tree? Probably not. You could probably skip this. I'm probably not going to go for the Sejong because it's 25 million credits that I don't have, and I'm probably never going to play it that much because I don't play Tier 8, so yeah, I mean, I got this thing out of a crate, thankfully, and I decided to put some upgrades on it, and so far, it's not horrible. It's not great either. The DPM, it's not good. At least it has high explosives, so you can set fires. That's huge. That right there already is something that I like. You know, the problem I have, for example, with, let's say, the San Diego is that thing only has AP and SAP, it doesn't have HE. This ship at least gets HE, so yeah, you got small guns, but you got really good reload on those guns, and you got high explosives. So that right there is something that immediately makes me happy. So at least I can get fires, because let's be real, these are 5-inch guns. You're going to be getting a lot of shatters off anything with armor, and there's a lot of ships at Tier 7 and 6 and even late Tier 8 with a lot of armor. So getting that high explosive is really nice, so you can set fires, essentially. Now, as you guys can see here, we're just dishing out so many torpedoes, okay? Like, look at the amount of torpedoes we're dishing out. We've got, I think we just sent out 12. We got 6 per side. Remember, these are 64-knot torpedoes. They go out to 12.8 kilometers, or 12.4, I don't remember now. But, yeah, they go out pretty damn far. And they're pretty damn good. When they hit, man, they fucking hit like a goddamn mad truck, okay? These torpedoes, you do not want to take them. Okay, now in destroyers, you don't gotta worry because they're deep water torpedoes. Deep water torpedoes cannot hit destroyers, so you're safe there. Now, all we're doing here at this point is we are just smoking up, and we are basically trying to do as much damage to these guys as possible. The Harbin is a support cruiser, I can tell you that right now. This is not one of those cruisers you can be aggressive in. I'm going to get that right out of the way. This ship has no armor. We covered that in the armor viewer, okay? This thing has 16 millimeters of armor plastered everywhere, and 16 millimeters ain't shit at Tier 7. Most destroyers have 16 millimeters of armor, if that says anything. So you've got destroyer armor, and you've got a Citadel that is bigger than the goddamn Grand Canyon. So you really got to be fucking careful. Like, if you're not careful, you will die. You do not have the hit points to take hits. You've only got 29,000 hit points. 2 Citadels, and you're gone back to port. Literally, 2 battleship Citadels, you're gone. And I've been removed in plenty of games. And in this game in particular, we're going to get absolutely bitch-slapped here coming up pretty shortly. But you gotta be careful. I cannot emphasize that enough with this ship. If you're not careful, you will fucking die. So, using these smoke screens and utilizing proper positioning is definitely going to really help in your Harbin for sure. Now, as you guys can see there, the Charlemagne is currently just sitting, you know, at bow in. I send a rack of torpedoes that way. And we might hit him, God only knows. Now, speaking of torpedoes, Simpin was playing the Hyson Yang. By the way, hi Simpin, I know he's in the division. I did say we were going to div up, and he just absolutely hit like a bunch of torpedoes on that Bismarck, and that Bismarck should be dead to flooding. Now, there he goes. That's a devastating strike for Simpin. But as you guys just saw there, I was talking about earlier how we were going to get bitch slapped, and it just happened. We just took a Citadel across the map from a battleship. If we would have took one more Citadel, that would have been game over for us. Now, that one rack of torpedoes that we sent at that Charlemagne, we actually hit him with one of those torpedoes, which did an absolute crazy amount of damage, and of course, it caused a flood. So, yeah, these keel breakers, as I like to call them, they really fucking hurt. That Charlemagne lost over half his health from one torpedo. Now, speaking of torpedoes, we're sending some torpedoes out there on the starboard side, and we're going to swing back around and get some torpedoes sent on the port side as well. We just want to be dishing out as much shit as possible and not making it easy for the enemy. We're trying to do our best on this side we can. We can't do a whole lot, mainly because, well, we're a Harbin. We don't have the armor to tank hits, but we do have the concealment to properly position here and maybe get some pot shots off here and there and try our best to just do as much damage to these guys as possible. Because you gotta remember, the Harbin has no radar, it has no sonar, it's not a aggressive DD hunting cruiser. It can't do it. It cannot. Especially when there's battleships out there and cruisers, such as heavy cruisers like Charlemagne, that want me dead. So I would rather live a little bit longer and potentially, you know, impact the game at a much safer rate than go in there and die. You know what I mean? So playing smart is very important. I can't emphasize that enough. Instead of, you know, going in there and YOLOing, because if you go in there and YOLO, it's just not going to work out for you. So we all know this thing has no armor. We've already covered that. I got pretty lucky there not to have been sent back to port. The Gneisenau, I think, hit me with a couple of his... oh no, I think that was the Azuma that hit me with a couple of his AP rounds, and I think they landed too far back, so they did not arm in my Citadel, because the Citadel only goes back so far. So there you go. Now, one thing to mention with the smoke screens, they only last around a minute, to be exact, but they have a pretty decent reload, so you can quickly get out of your smoke, disengage, and then pop them again. You got quite a few of them as well if you put on fully packed, so it's pretty good, I will say. Now, as you guys can see here, I mean, just look at the reload, right? The reload is really good. We got a 4.4 second reload on my build, and we're able to just put out loads and loads of shells. Just basically slowly whittling these guys down by 1,000 cuts, setting fires, just annoying them, right? That's all we're doing. We're annoying the crap out of them, which is okay. Now, Simpin is still over in Bravo. I think he just got the Bravo cap, if I'm not mistaken, and he is doing his best to try and support me, get some torpedoes down on range on these battleships and what have you. And he's also trying to find that enemy destroyer. So now the Gneisenau is just sailing in a straight line. He's turning here and there, but it really isn't enough. I think he's actually going to take one of those deep water sent from Simpin, and he does. That's yeah, that's pretty huge because we're able to finish him. We did 446 damage there. That's our first kill. We did just take out that Gneisenau. Not going to lie, we did kind of yoink it, but nonetheless, we will take it, right? We can take what we can get in this ship. Now, while we're going to be playing a little bit of Sailing Simulator here, I'm going to talk a little bit about if the ship is worth it or not, if it's good. And essentially, I would say probably not. I don't think the ship is good. Let me just get that out of the way. In terms of impact on the battle, in terms of carrying games, this ship just cannot carry. It doesn't have the armor to tank, it doesn't have radar, it doesn't have sonar, and that right there is something that, you know, it completely ruins the ability to carry games. This is purely a support cruiser. You have to keep this in mind. It is not meant to be aggressive in. You gotta be careful. And basically, this ship depends on your teammates to spot for you. This ship depends on basically everything to work out in your favor. Now, speaking of things working out in people's favor, Simpin's about to disconnect, and that's unfortunate. The Azuma should be able to kill Simpin, but except he's not going to be able to. I think Simpin just disconnected right about now, if I'm not mistaken. He's still shooting his guns. Is he shooting his guns? I don't know. I think he disconnected, right? Any second, Simpin I know disconnects, and yeah. But anyway, we're gonna keep on shooting this Azuma. Basically, that's all we're doing now. We're trying to get some fires, and we do get some fires. Now the Kunaberte pops up, and we finish him off, and I think that's when Simpin disconnects. When we take out the Kunaberte, if I'm not mistaken. Now one of those deep waters almost hit him, which is amazing. We just got our second kill of the game, by the way, on that Kunaberte. But yeah, Simpin did just disconnect, and currently he is just sitting still, and there's nothing he can do. Now, looks like we got some torpedoes out there. It looks like that's from the friendly cruiser, if I'm not mistaken, or whoever that was over there. And they, of course, miss because, yeah, this Azuma so far has been able to dodge pretty much all the torpedoes sent at him. And we did just get a permafire on him. That's pretty huge. So he's going to burn, and he's going to die because the Nelson comes in and absolutely destroys him with his 16-inch guns. And funny enough, Simpin, although he disconnected, he's still alive. Yeah, that's right. He's got a fire burning on him, but since he's the destroyer, that fire will be put out pretty quickly on its own because they only last like 20-30 seconds on DDs. But yeah, nonetheless, guys, a little bit to unpack here, but I would say that this ship is okay. It's not great. It really isn't. Is it good? Probably not. It really is just a support cruiser at the end of the day. It's not a carry ship. It lacks it. What this ship can do is just support your team, right? With fire and fire and fire, and of course torpedoes. This ship just dishes out a lot of torpedoes, which is really good at the end of the day. But nonetheless, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the Harbin. I'm not really that intrigued by this ship. It's okay, but it's not great. It lacks utility in terms of radar and sonar, which is really unfortunate for a ship like this. And to be honest, I think this could get an extra, maybe a sonar at least, but, it is what it is. But nonetheless, we did pretty decent that game. 2.1k base. The team actually did overall pretty good as well. Simpin was actually ahead of us, despite him being AFK at the end there. But nonetheless, everybody, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you all did enjoy it. That's a little review and gameplay of the Harbin Tier 7 Tech Tree Cruiser. Nonetheless, I will catch you on the next one. Peace out. Stay healthy, as always.